Hello, welcome to next review. For this video, we're going to implement a transit gateway architecture on AWS. So we're looking at the architecture right now. And so we have three VPCs within the North Virginia region, US East 1. So we have everything is within the same availability zone, US East 1A, okay, US East 1A, 1A. And so we have a VPC 1, VPC number 2, and VPC number 3, okay? So the question is, what do we even need this transit gateway? What's the purpose, okay? So the point of using the transit gateway is to allow resources within different networks, within different VPCs to communicate. Let's say we have a virtual machine here, and we have other virtual machines. We want these three to communicate privately, okay, without having to go through the internet. So we want a private communication using the private IPs. To do that, we can set up a transit gateway, and then let's say this one wants to communicate with this, it will go through the transit gateway attachment, then to the transit gateway hub, and then to this other attachment, and then to this network right here. Okay, so it's good for multiple networks, multiple VPCs. But for the sake of the demonstration, I'm only going to implement two VPCs. I'm just going to implement VPC 1 and 2. I'm not going to go ahead with this one just to keep the video a little shorter. Okay. So let's see. So what's the game plan? So the game plan is to create, so I'm going to launch a VPC with the subnets. I'm going to launch VPC2 with the subnets. I'm going to also launch the virtual machines, the EC2 instance within each subnet. And I'm going to ping, and I'm going to ping. So I'm not going to enable the public IP for this virtual machine, for the virtual machine in this subnet in VPC2. Okay, I'm not going to enable this public IP. Okay, I'm going to enable the one for VPC1 just because I'm going to SSH to this one with the instance connect. So I'm going to need that public IP to be available. So AWS can SSH into this. And then from this VM, I'm going to ping this one, okay? I'm going to try to ping this one with its private IP. And then, so we're going to see that's going to fail. And then after that, we're going to implement this transit gateway architectures to allow that communication to take place. So that's the game plan. Okay, so now let's jump on the AWS console and begin to implement our architecture. Okay, so let me switch to the VPC tab. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a VPC. So for this case, I'm just gonna create two VPC. So I'm gonna go ahead and do VPC and more so I can create the subnets and the router, everything at once. So I'm just gonna create VPC and I'm gonna select VPC and more. I'm gonna select this so I can name my resources myself. So I'm gonna leave the static block as default. No IPv6. Tennessee, I'm gonna leave it at default. I'm gonna select I'm just gonna use one availability zone. So that's your architecture. We're just using everything is gonna be in US East 1A. So just one availability zone. One subnet. No, we're not creating any private subnets. So we don't need to NAT gateway since we don't have any private subnets. I'm going to unselect the S3 gateway. So now let's give the name. So this is a VPC1 subnet. So I'm just going to add subnet. So the route table. And then this is going to be an internet gateway. Okay, so we have everything. We have the VPC, subnet, route table, and an internet gateway. So now we can go ahead and click create to launch. So I'm going to click on create VPC. So it's going to go ahead and create our VPC. We can click on view VPC. And let's see. So let's see. Okay, so it's available now. So let's go on and click create our second VPC. So same thing, VPC and more, select auto generate name. I'm going to change the starter block to 10.1 so they're not unique, since I'm going to link the two VPCs. We don't want any overlap. So I'm going to leave this again at no IPv6, default tenancy. I'm going to select the same number of availability zone, one public subnet, no private subnet, no NAT gateways, since we're only going for the public subnet, and no S3 gateway. And then I'm going to go up, give the names. So we just want to change the names to VPC2. So let me copy that again. Move over here. So this is going to be our subnet. And then move to the route table. And same thing for the IGW. Okay, so we have our names. 222. Let's just make sure the names are correct. So let's go ahead and create VPC. So this is creating the VPC, the subnets, the route table, and it's associating the route table. So let's go ahead and what do we have next? Let's look at our architecture. So we launched our VPCs and the subnet. So let's now go ahead and launch the EC2 instance within each subnet within the VPC. So let me switch to my EC2 instance tab. I'm gonna go ahead and launch my instance. So the name, I'm just gonna, so let's start with the first one. So name VPC1, virtual, I'm just gonna call it virtual machine. Okay. So we're gonna use Amazon Linux for the image. It's free tier. Instance type, we're gonna leave it at T2 micro. It's also a free tier. So I'm not gonna use any key pair since I don't plan to SSH from my local machine. I'm just gonna SSH. I'm gonna use the EC2 instance connect to SSH. So I'm just gonna proceed without key pair. Let's edit a network and select our VPC1. And the subnet came out. So we only have one subnet within this VPC. So that's the only one that's showing VPC1 subnet Denver. So I'm gonna enable public IP since I'm gonna SSH to this particular one through the instance connect. So I'm gonna create a new security group. I'm gonna say allow. So we wanna allow SSH and SCMP. This one is for the ping. So since we're gonna be pinging our VM or virtual machine. So it says inbound security group rules, SSH, port 22, source is gonna be, I'm gonna custom the source. This is gonna be, I'm gonna put the range of the IP that AWS uses for North Virginia, US East 1, okay? And I'm referencing whenever it's trying to SSH with the instance connect. So in my case, so the instance, the IP range is 18.206. Let me just make sure I get the number right. 107.24 S//29. Okay. 18.206.7.107.24. Okay, so that's the one. So for different region, the IP range will be different. So this is for this particular region. So we also gonna add another rule. This one gonna be ICMP. So let's go down for ICMP IPv4. So this is so we can ping our virtual machine source. I'm just gonna say anywhere. So we can ping it from any IP address. Okay, that's it. And we're gonna leave everything else as default. I'm gonna go ahead and launch my instance. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do the same thing again. So let's launch our second instance. Okay. Name, yes, VPC2. So this is VPC2 virtual machine. Okay. Amazon Linux. Okay, so same architecture, free tier eligible for the image, same architecture, T2 micro for the instance type. We again going to proceed without key pair. Okay. And I'm gonna edit our network. I'm gonna choose VPC number 2. And we have our VPC2 in subnets selected. So for this case, I'm gonna leave public IP disabled. Okay. Because we only want to use our private IP. So I'm just gonna leave this disabled. So I'm gonna create a security group. So I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna allow ICMP. So we're only gonna allow ping. So there's not gonna be any SSH. We're not gonna SSH. Maybe we should also SSH. Should I also SSH? Let's see. Do I need to demonstrate that as well? I'm just gonna ping it from subnets from VPC1. You know, I'm just gonna pick the private IP of the second virtual machine in VPC2 from VPC1. So I'm just gonna allow only the ICMP. I'm not gonna open any 422. So I'm gonna say for ICMP4, I'm just gonna say anywhere, because I mean I can also specify the IP address of this virtual machine. I'm just gonna leave it like this to keep things simple. Okay, and then what else do we need? Everything else remains as default. And that's it. Okay, so launch instance. Okay. Now we can see, let's try to reload. So we have this one is already running. And this is the second one, so it's pending. Load again. Still pending. Probably needs a few more seconds. Okay, so let's look at our, okay, so it's now running. Let's look at our architecture one once more. Okay, so what have we done so far? So we have created our two VPCs, VPC1, VPC2 within AZ US East 1A in both cases. And everything is within the same region, US East 1, North Virginia. Okay. So we have EC2 instance, the two instances. So we have one within VPC1. We have one more within VPC2. Okay. So now I'm gonna try to demo. I'm gonna go ahead and SSH into this virtual machine, and I'm gonna attempt to ping this. Okay, so I'm gonna use the private IP of VPC VM2 or VPC2 VM. I'm gonna take its private, copy its private IP, launch SSH this one and ping it and see if it responds. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. Let's go back. So let's go add, this is our second we use. Okay, so we have, let's copy our private IP of this. So IPv4, my watch, let's stop that. All right, so I'm gonna copy the private IP. So now let me go ahead and SSH into our first VM. So I'm gonna say connect. EC2 instance connect. I'm gonna click connect. So now establishing connection. So we are now connected. So I'm gonna go ahead and ping. Let's see, paste. So I'm gonna ping the private IP of the virtual machine that's inside our second VPC. So we can see we don't have any connection. All right, so it's not responding. So if it responds, it will give us some output. So we're not getting any response. So I'm just gonna cancel it. I'm gonna click Control C. So now I'm gonna go back. So now let's look at our the second part of our implementation. So I'm gonna go back to the architecture. So now I'm gonna implement this transit gateway. So I'm gonna implement with a transit gateway hub and create and do the attachments. And then I'm gonna modify the route table of each VPC, or VPC1 and VPC2. Then we're gonna go back and test again. So let me go back to console. So let's go back to VPC. All right, so let's, no. Okay, I clicked on EC2. No, that's not what we want. VPC. Okay, so we're gonna go down. And I'm gonna, let's see, where is our transit gateway? Click on transit gateway. And we're gonna create a transit gateway. So we're gonna give it a name. Okay, nope, that's not what we want. So we give it Denver transit gateway. Description. Let's see, what do we say? Let's just give it something, let's write something. I'm gonna say enter connect the VPCs in Nova, in North Virginia. Okay, I'm just gonna some random. Okay, so next we need our ASN. So I'm not gonna put any numbers, so it's gonna give us a number automatically. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it empty. Amazon will give us something. DNS reports, yes. I'm just gonna leave everything as default. Okay, so yeah, so default word table association, propagation, yes. Okay, and that's good. Transit gateway starter blocks. All right, let's see if we're forgetting something. No, no. Okay, yeah. Transit starter blocks, so I'm just gonna leave this empty. And then we're gonna create. So it's pending. Yeah, this might take maybe a minute or something. Let's see. All right. Okay, let's give it some time. So So as you can see, I had created the same thing previously. That was just to test this implementation that I'm doing and before I actually record a video. Okay, so let's reload again. Let's see if it's done. Okay, it's available. So we have our Transit Gateway Hub. Let's go ahead and create the attachment. Let me see where this. Okay, let's go down. Transit Gateway attachments. So we have all these things deleted. So let's go ahead and create gateway attachment. So the name, okay, so I have this thing. So say Denver. Let's see, let me see what name we give these things away. Okay, we don't have, okay, not really, never mind. Let's go back. Okay, so when I say Denver Transit Gateway, no, let's say Denver VPC 1 Transit Gateway attach. Okay, copy that. Okay, so when I select our Transit Gateway, attachment type is VPC. We have VPN peering connection. So when I select VPC, DNS supports, VPC ID. So this is for the first VPC. When I select our VPC1, and it's gonna select our subnets by default. Because we can only do one attachment for each per subnet. So in our case, we only have one subnet in each VPC, so we just need to do one attachment for the VPC. So we're gonna go ahead and create the Transit Gateway attachments. Okay, so that's pending. Let's go ahead and create our second one in the meantime. So I'm just gonna rename this Denver VPC2 Transit Gateway attach. And I'm gonna select our Denver Transit Gateway Hub. Type is to VPC, DNS support, yes. And we're gonna select VPC2. And it's gonna auto select our subnet within VPC2. And we're gonna go ahead and create our attachment. Okay. So let's see if we reload our page. Let's see. Both of them are still pending. Okay. So let's wait for this to be done. And then we're gonna go ahead and modify our route tables, our VPC route tables. Okay. All right, let's reload again. Let's see where we are. So one is available now. One is still pending. Let's try again. Still pending. Okay. Yeah, I need some time. So same thing you see, I have a bunch of things deleted. So these are just same implementation I was doing prior to the recording, just to make sure everything goes smoothly. Okay, so let's still pending. Okay. Yeah, so let's go in the meantime. Let's look at our architecture, see where we are. Okay, so what have we done? So we have our VPC1 and VPC2. We have the subnets within the VPC. We have the virtual machines. And we have now created the Transit Gateway Hub. We have created the attachments for each VPC. So if you remember previously, we had tested ping, and we had done a ping test from VPC1, the virtual machine within VPC1 to the virtual machine within VPC2, and that failed. So now we have our transit gateways, and now what we have to do is modify the route table of each VPC so that they can we have the route to the transit gateway. And then we're gonna do our test for the second time. So let's go back and see if our attachment is available. Okay, so attachment is not available. Good. So now let's go to let me duplicate this. I might not need it, but let's just do it. Let's duplicate and let me go to VPC. No, where am I going? Okay, we need to add the route table. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna go to the VPC. So let's do the route tables. So okay, so let's see. We have a VPC1 route table. So let's look at the routes. So currently we have two routes. We have our local routes and we have the routes to the IGW. Okay, so we're gonna edit this route so we can add our transit gateways. Okay, so I'm gonna add a route. So for this first one, so the source is going to be our VPC number 2. So let me just copy that, paste. So the VPC2, the cider block is 10.1.0.0.16. And the target is going to be the attachment of VPC1. So we're going to say transit gateway, VPC1 attach. Okay, and so now we're going to click on save. All right, so we have that. So now let's go back. Now do the same thing for this one. Route table. So this is for VPC route table for VPC2. So we're gonna edit this one as well, edit the route. And for this one, we're gonna add the routes. The source is going to, the destination will be VPC number 1, the starter block of VPC1, and the target will be the attachment of VPC2. Transit gateway attach VPC2. And click on save. So now we have this set up. So if you go to the architecture again, so now we have these things connected. Okay, we have a route that can go through, the attachments, the hub, and then the other attachment and the VPC. Okay, so now let's go back and test. Let's do a ping test again for the second time. Now this time we should be able to reach out the virtual machine in VPC2 to its private IP. Okay, so let's go to, let's copy our private IP again. VPC2, so I'm gonna copy that. And now I'm gonna go back to my instance connect. So I'm gonna actually, I can just recall, I don't even need to copy it again. So let's do that. Now you can see we now have a response, okay? So now we're able to reach us the resource, or in this case the instance, the EC2 instance inside the VPC2 using its private IP, and this is from VPC1. Okay, so it's being routed via the transit gateway. Okay, so this is what we were trying to achieve. Okay, sounds good. We've accomplished the goal. All right, that's it for this video. Let me know what you would like me to cover for the next video, for the next project. You can leave your comments below, and hopefully this helped. Okay, so I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.